Hey, what's up guys on Patreon? This is 3D Bonfire back with an amazing tutorial, and this time this is just the part 2 of my ribbons training, the ribbons training part 1. I think it's already a couple of weeks old, but I think I promised to do a second part, and I was thinking, what do I really want to tell in the second part? And a couple of you guys asked me about how I do my backgrounds. Now, I mean, this is not complex stuff, but maybe I have some useful tips and tricks for you how to build a fast background scene. And really, this is not a complex tutorial here, but maybe some of it will be helpful. So you can see beautiful rendering there, but for now I will just pause it and get out of my camera. And you can see the scene is actually just a bunch of cubes, so nothing spectacular, but I just arranged them, for example. So when I just go to my filters and show me my camera, where is it? Oh, sorry, I just need to click the dot here. You can see my camera is angled from here, and when I look through it, these elements, they will give me, for example, these ones, okay? So just this minor foreground details, and when I rotate around my scene, this will just make the scene a little bit more rich and will give you a hint of there would be something more complex. So just you can see this will give it beautiful blurred out cubes there, and my focal depth of course is set towards the main object. So when I just go into my attributes, you can see I just played with the depth of field and the aperture is set to 60, and I just put my focal and I just pick my focus picker and click on my main object, and everything else becomes blurred. And I just like to have some foreground elements, and the rest is not so spectacular. Some middle elements and a lot of them in the background. I think I even have a far background here, and this is just I mean, I don't know even what I can tell about it. So this is, I just get rid of this one for now. You can see I just have these pieces in packs, actually in null objects. And for example, I can just duplicate this one and put one there. And most of the time I just do this in camera, okay? So I just go, okay, maybe I just want a couple of them here also. And I just rotate around my scene and see how it looks. Maybe this feels empty here, so I go there, put it down, give me this axis, and I have more elements there. So this is really simple stuff. Maybe we just quickly go about how to build something like that, but I'm not sure. I mean, I guess you know it, all right? So most of the time I just go for this cube, for example, give it just a small fillet, in this case maybe something around 1, and I think this is already good enough. Then I just go up, and I never go with mathematical exact numbers. I just eyeball this one and I just rotate it. I think this looks more interesting. Then I go up with it, and I think I already made a mistake, so just give me another parametric cube, and I just want to have it still parametric while I'm doing this. And just put it there, give me the fillet, and I just reduce it to a 1. Okay, that's perfect. And just go up with it. Maybe let's say the size here could be smaller, so go down, maybe I just put it there, give it just a small angle. All right, and basically this would be how to build a build a couple of cubes on top of each other. So that's not so complicated, right? Maybe we just click on this one, make it smaller here, give it a couple of degrees there, put it here. So I think this looks kind of funny. All right, maybe I just make this one a bit bigger, select all of these points, go there. So this is the cube on the floor, so this could be a bit more massive. All right, and there you have one pillar of cubes. I think I just put these ones into a null object, and voila, this is the first one. And I mean, then it is easy to duplicate them, rotate them, give them variations. And of course, maybe this is your second set of cubes. Maybe we select these ones, sorry, these 4, make them bigger, put them up, that it is still matching on the last cube here. All right, And this is how I would build a couple of these ones, and then I just put them in my scene, right? And maybe I will put all of them into another null object, put Alt G. And maybe to be more efficient, you could also go to your instances and make instances of it, all right? So this will be just more this will be just more effective for rendering and calculation. So put different render instances in your scene, rotate them, and of course you always work from your camera angle. So if this would be your camera angle, then sometimes it is helpful to just go into your camera and then move your sets wherever you need them. And this is just, of course you do it when you have your HDRI in the scene, and then you look what the shadows are doing, what will be a good composition, and overall this would be how I will build easy and fast backgrounds for my scene. Okay, maybe one more example. Alright guys, so I have another scene I want to quickly discuss with you. How would I build like these simple structures there? Of course this smells like MoGraph, and of course I use MoGraph for it. Of course, like in the previous setup, you could also take cubes, duplicate them, then put it into nulls and make render instances of them and manually put it here and there. But I think with cloner and more massive setups, I would go for MoGraph. Of course, for example, in this scene, everything that is not in camera, so I just show you, I had a camera like this one. And of course, I would not build stuff that is outside of the camera, so this is not necessary. And maybe one more tip, if you build like massive scenes and you reach your scene scale, what I mean is the viewport clipping. So most of the time you will get errors like this one. Okay, so what the hell is happening here? But of course, you just go to your view clipping, set it to huge, and then you can work in scenes that are just a bit more big in size. All right. So how would I go to build that stuff? Let me just show you maybe in a new scene. So jump into a new scene, and why don't we just grab a cube? I think I just make it like this one. Give it a small fillet. That just always helps to make it more beautiful. So you can see these beautiful angles there, the edges. Give me maybe a couple of cubes. So I say one that looks like this. Give me another one with a variation here. How about a more thin one? Maybe even more thin, bigger. Yeah, just give yourself some cubes there to give you a couple of variation in your scene. So I think this is just a bit too big. So go for something like that. And maybe I would just make one more that is more tiny. Something around that. Okay, that's perfect. And I think I just want to get them into a cloner. All right, so not so complicated what I'm doing here. Maybe I just make it just a little bit more interesting. Okay, so I just freestyle here, but let's say this one will be a little hierarchy with a little cube inside of it. So let me just say, we just build one more there, and let's see, let's put one here. So I don't know if this is really necessary. Maybe we make the same with this one. So sorry, put one into it, just put it into it, go there, make it bigger. Okay, maybe one more. Let's say this one will look like that. Okay, maybe put it to one side of it. Okay, I just make this just a little bit more interesting, just for myself, that I feel better. Okay, so how about we say this one also will have an element there, and maybe one more here. Okay, so I just think this will make it just a little bit more interesting. So we also have cubes with hierarchies in this cloner. And now I just say it is time to put this one into a perfect grid array. Oh, lovely. Put it to 10 by 10. Okay. So that's a good start, but it is too organized. So I would say, so put this one to random. Okay, that's nice. I just want to see my lines here. Okay, that's helpful. I say let's go with 15 by 15 and put instances to multi-instances. I think this would be just faster into calculations. Of course, you could already be satisfied, but I think I just want to give it a bit more randomness. So how about we just go, let me think about it. Let's go with a shader effector this time. Let's say the shader effector shouldn't be with the scale, but with the rotation. And let's say, so for now, let's put this to 360. For now, all of them are turned 360, but I think I know a little trick here. So how about we just put a random field inside here? So all of them have different rotation values, but let me just use a quantize on top of it. And it's already set up in a good way. So if you put it to 4 steps, that just means every step will be a rotation of 90 degrees, right? And all in all, this will be altogether 360 degrees. So now all of them are turned into a perfect 90-degree angle, and this will also give it more variation. I think I just want to push it just a little bit further, go to a random effector and put this one to a scale variation of 2. Okay, that's nice. And why don't we just make a little position variation in the height, put this to 20, put this one, maybe put this one to 60 or even 200, that's better, and give it also 200 on the set. I think this is a beautiful background there. So if you have holes in your scene, you could also just grab a plane there, put it to maybe, let's see, 4000 by 4000. That was a bit too fast. All right, perfect. And if you have still need to adjust it manually, you could of course still grab cubes, for example, put one of them here to get more of a clean space there. Grab this cube and put it wherever you need it. For example, I would just put it there so put it just there, put your main objects on it, I don't know. So you can still of course put more cubes into your scene and use the cloner setup as a fast background, and now just build even more on top of it. For example, some hero objects there. So here would be a really huge one. I don't know. So of course you can just continue from here, and that is the way I would build some fast and easy background for another scene. So I hope you learned something here, guys. See you in the next tutorial. Goodbye.